Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 123 Podcast. We are on the eve, or after the eve, of WrestleMania. On the eve, my ass. We passed WrestleMania, thank you, Lord. We are on the eve of what comes after WrestleMania, which is Raw, and very little NXT this week.
Yeah.
Very little of NXT this week, which is disappointing because Raw was up and down, whereas NXT is always that build up at the end of the week, and we only got one match.
That's because all the NXT stars went to Raw. That's why. But we'll talk about that.
Oh, we will.
It's crazy.
So there were actually two things though that Brent actually has, and one thing I wanna be the one that touches on this because I found out during WrestleMania that Brie had shared a picture on Instagram saying Mama Bella. So apparently Brie is confirmed pregnant and is retiring.
Yeah.
So Nikki's all that's left, possibly.
Yeah. Brie also tweeted out a photo from WrestleMania and said that these girls all made my last night amazing or whatever. I'm paraphrasing, but she did call it her last night. So, that was pretty much a confirmation as well. So. Yeah.
Well, it looks like Daniel Bryan, lucky man that he retired when he did. He's going to play daddy, that's for sure.
Think about this, though. You got Brie and Daniel both retired. You got Nikki and John both hurt.
Well, John's back.
Sort of. There was a story I saw that he was bench pressing like 3 months before he's supposed to, so he's not 100% yet. He might be back, but he's not 100% yet.
Yeah, he didn't wrestle.
He was on the American Idol series finale, by the way. They had like stars from all the Fox shows, and his show's going to be on Fox next week. So yeah, it was funny seeing him there. It was like a fish out of water.
I did see the show. I forgot what show Roman and Charlotte were going to be on the following morning. That I saw their moment on the show. It was really cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that as well.
Oh, you saw it?
I saw pictures from it. I didn't actually watch the segment.
I will say this, and SmackDown happened tonight. Please stop letting Roman Reigns talk on that mic. Oh my God! It was so. I know you didn't watch SmackDown, but it was so bad. He repeated himself twice, and I swear to you, I kid you not, I actually walked into the living room and said, "Did he just say that?" Because it made the sentence that came out of his mouth made no sense. He's like, to get this, you gotta beat the guy. But he had called himself the man at the beginning of the segment, so it's like...
Yeah, see, he was going from what he said on Raw, which was, I'm not a bad guy, I'm not a good guy, I'm just the guy. Yeah.
Exactly, that's exactly what he said.
Which is, somebody else said that first, before he said that on Monday. I don't remember who. I think it was one of the announcers actually said it. I think it might have been JBL even.
It wouldn't surprise me.
So when he said it in the ring, I was like, oh, wow, they're actually going with that. That's going to be his new thing.
He's not going to be a face or a heel. He's going to be I'm just doing this because I'm doing this, and if people like me, great. If they polarize his character, he's screwed.
He's John Cena. He's like a John Cena hybrid. I don't know what it is. It's weird. We'll talk about that. But before we get to that, you mentioned SmackDown. The Vaudevillains. We talked about NXT. The Vaudevillains came up. They were on SmackDown. I didn't see it, obviously, but I knew they were there. So that's interesting. All these NXT guys and girls, they're just bringing them up left and right.
Well, I think that, honestly, because we're in a new season now of wrestling, because WrestleMania is basically the series finale, and now everything resets. I feel like that's why this is the week where they can debut some of the wrestlers from the farm team, so to speak, and bring them up.
Yeah, it's
and
just
have them do their thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. It's just interesting how many, and again, we'll get to that when we talk about Raw, but how many so fast that they brought up. And which means they've got to bring in new people to NXT, which it's going to be interesting to watch that as well, which they've already started. The other piece of news that we have is a little bit sad. And this is the passing of Blackjack Mulligan. Real name Was it Roger Wyndham?
I think so. You told me on Facebook, I
Yeah,
believe.
I know his last name is Wyndham. I apologize, I cannot remember his actual first name. He's the father of Barry and Kendall Wyndham. Robert Wyndham. I was close. Sorry. Um, and he's also the grandfather. I don't know if you knew this, but he's the grandfather of Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas.
No, I did
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, his I guess Michael Rotunda, which is Bray and Bo's dad, he's married to his daughter. So
Okay.
yeah, so yeah, it's very sad. He was 73 years old, Hall of Famer. He was part of the Heenan family back in the 70s. Bobby Heenan's Heenan family.
Yeah, the Heenan family.
Yeah. So it's very sad, and we of course we send out our condolences to his family and friends and the entire WWE and wrestling community. So
Absolutely.
had to mention that.
We do have some other news, and it pertains to 123 Podcast, but those are our announcements, and those are going to be how we close the show out this week.
Exactly. And the only other piece of news we had was really non-news. It's about Total Divas, and it kind of ties into something that happened on Raw. And if you want, we can just start with that.
Yeah, we can talk about that real quick because
Okay.
I hated that match so much.
Okay. So I'll just start with the news, and then we'll talk about how it works into it. Total Divas, they're letting 3 of the cast members go. They've gotten rid of Alicia Fox, Rosa Mendez, and I keep forgetting the third one.
Because she was fired.
Rosa Mendez, Alicia Fox, and
Anna.
Oh, Mandy. No, Mandy. That's her. The one from Tough Enough. No, I think Rosa Mendez.
Rosa got fired.
Yeah,
Mendez,
Rosa. Yeah. So they got rid of those 3. They're bringing in 3 new ones, which are, well, actually 4 new ones. Renee Young is rumored. Lana, which is going to be interesting, especially if she's herself, which they usually are themselves.
Which is going to be interesting because that'll be the beginning of the end of her Russian accent then, for sure.
Exactly.
Even though all of us fans already know she doesn't have a Russian accent. Just, I'm sorry to burst anybody's bubble or any Russian person's bubble that was like, oh, she's a sexy. No, that's not her voice.
Yeah, and Kofi Kingston's not Jamaican either.
Well, he got out of that.
I know.
Man, that was like, he came out of character with that a while. I remember that.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Naomi's coming back, and the last one that they're bringing in is Maurice. So if you're wondering why all of a sudden Maurice, who has been gone from the WWE for a while, she is, in real life married to The Miz.
I didn't even know Miz was married. I didn't think it was possible for that man to get married.
yeah, they're married. So if you wonder why she came back just suddenly on Raw this week, that's why, because they're getting her visibility again, which leads us into this Intercontinental title match between Zack Ryder and The Miz.
Which pissed everyone off because you just gave Zack Ryder the belt. It was like his WrestleMania moment. It was like, wow, The Miz had the belt and Zack Ryder screwed him. And then you gave The Miz the belt 24 hours, if not less, later. That's bullshit. I don't care if you're bringing Maurice up. That's bullshit. You don't do that. You wait till the pay-per-view at least. Let Zack Ryder have his damn belt. Now you're going to let Miz have the belt and Zack Ryder go after the belt because they wrestled again on SmackDown and he lost again.
I wonder if he's going to chase him until the pay-per-view and then...
Most likely. And then I think there was a rumor that a Diva's going to follow Zack Ryder. I don't know which. I don't know which. I'm not sure. But one of them I hear is rumored. There's a Diva that's rumored to be with Zack Ryder.
I wonder if Maurice is going to start wrestling again.
Don't do that to me.
She wasn't bad. She wasn't.
I never saw her wrestle. Remember, she left probably when I started watching.
Yeah, she did this wicked spin kick to the back of your head. It was kind of cool. Yeah, but
I hated that though. That was a really bad match, and it nullified everything that happened at WrestleMania. It ruined that moment.
Yeah, it did. I agree with you. I was like, wow, they're really just going to take it from... It's the story of Zack Ryder's entire career. It's like, oh, here's a piece of candy, but nope, we're going to take it right back from you. You can't eat it.
I'm sorry. I was not for that, and that really put a damper on my night a little bit. It really didn't. Just because he deserved it. Everybody was so happy he won, and then you go and give it to, of all people, The Miz.
Yeah.
I turned my TV off. I didn't. The Dudleys versus the Usos. I didn't see that. I came back for the main event. When Mike told me the main event started, that's when I started. I didn't watch Dudleys and Usos, which was
Yeah,
the next
that's
match. Oh, good. So I didn't miss anything.
it was just the Dudleys and the Usos again. You know,
It was a tables match, I heard.
yeah, it was a tables match. How does that make sense?
It doesn't because they were supposed to be away from the tables now.
Yeah. So what happened? I'll tell you what happened in that match if you want to know.
Sure.
They tried to repeat the. Of course, you didn't see the pre-show for the kickoff show for WrestleMania either. What happened in the WrestleMania match? The Usos put the Dudleys on tables and then splashed them from the top rope. Well, they
Oh,
tried
they
to.
tried the same.
Yeah, they tried the same. The Dudleys moved. They went through the tables, and the bell ringer rang the bell, and then Bubba jumped up and set up another table, then threw the Uso through the table, and he said, "Now we won," because he was yelling at the bellkeeper, the timekeeper, because
You made a mistake.
yeah, he made a mistake because you had to put somebody through a table. They put themselves through the table, so it didn't count. So he was like, "Now
Wow.
we won, you dummy!" It's like, wow, and that was only one of the mess ups. Lillian Garcia really messed up in the Intercontinental match, if you remember.
Yes, she did.
She was announcing the Intercontinental match before anybody even challenged him for the title.
Yep. And I was like, what? I thought it was an Intercontinental match until he started talking. I was like, okay.
Yeah, imagine what Zach was thinking. He was like, "You just messed up my whole night here," and then he loses on top of it.
hmm
Uh,
Um, but hey, the beginning of the night was another thing that kind of nullified everything that
yeah,
happened on WrestleMania.
what the
Vince came
heck?
out. Vince came out and he was like, "I won, I won, haha, no more Shane, no more Shane." And then Shane came out and he even said his goodbye. So it's like, okay, they're saying goodbye to Shane. Shit, crap, fill in the blank. We were angry, but that's it. And then Vince's like, no, 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 wait a minute. You're not going to upstage me. So you think you could do things around here, huh? You think you could do better? You got it. You're running Raw tonight.
That's what Lance Storm.
What?
Lance Storm tweeted. He said, "Okay, so the stipulations for WrestleMania were if Shane won, he would control Raw and there would be no authority. So Shane loses the match Monday night. Shane's controlling Raw and there's no authority."
There's rumor that that the authorities being possibly going to be faded out.
Yeah, yeah, of course, but it's just like you said, it made no sense because it was like, well, what was the match for then? It had no impact whatsoever, and on top of that, think about what that says. That says that Vince McMahon was willing to put his son, who he thinks would run the show into the ground, in charge of the show, and then leave and not even watch the product and just let it
Right.
burn to the ground.
Knock, knock.
Where are the writers?
And even Vince, I was like, at that moment when Shane was on the top of the cage, I was like, don't do it. And I don't know why. He's your son, you stupid dumbass. Who wrote that line?
I know.
Fire you put Titus O'Neil on a freaking 3-month suspension. Put that person on a 4-month suspension.
They realized that they made a huge mistake. I don't think when Shane came out originally, when he first came back, I don't think they even realized how big a deal that would be for the fans. I think they knew it would be big, but I don't think they knew what level it would be. And they had already had that whole thing set up with Undertaker, and then they realized they wrote themselves into a corner. So this was their way to weasel out of it, but it was not well done
So basically,
at
we
all.
instead of us losing, we won, but we won in a way where we're not happy.
Yeah, because it's
Made no sense. There was no point to it.
yeah, it's insulting to the fans, really, because we're not dumb. We understand good storytelling. If you give us good storytelling, we'll appreciate it. If you give us stuff that doesn't matter and doesn't make sense, or that, we're not going to appreciate it. So
And you know what's funny? You didn't see Shane for the rest of the night either.
yeah, I know, except for one little backstage where he congratulated somebody and you couldn't even hear what he was saying or whatever.
Exactly. And then the first match of the night was the New Day versus League of Nations again, which I don't want to talk about that because the New Day won, but I want to talk about what happened after it because that was better.
Okay.
First of all, League of Nations said, "We're only as good as our weakest link," and then they beat. I knew at
Yeah.
that moment when he was talking, when Sheamus was talking, and they were back there, and Corb and
Wade Barrett.
Wade Barrett was kind of like still reeling from the whole match. I was like, they're gonna kick his ass, aren't they? And they're like,
Yep.
and when he said weakest link, I'm like, so this is how they're going to write him out of wrestling
Mm-hmm.
because he's supposedly leaving.
Yeah.
Remember, he said I'm quitting in June,
Yep.
so he only has 2 more months.
Mm-hmm.
So why not end it with him feuding with the League of Nations? Because obviously the League of Nations isn't going to go after New Day anymore. So either Mr. King Barrett is going to put together an English team, or he's going to put together a
Well,
team to take out the League of Nations.
you forget about the Wyatts. What the
And
heck?
I was like, I think everybody was thanking them. Thank you, Wyatt. You remember the chance, thank
Yeah.
you, Wyatt's? And I
But
was like, why? The
why?
Wyatt's good?
Why are the Wyatts attacking? It makes no sense. It's like
I was like, why the League of Nations? You know why? Because the League of Nations said they were the best team in WWE. That's
yeah.
how I rationalized it, but it still made no sense that the
Yeah.
Wyatts of all people came out.
Because it was the only other three-person team besides New Day that existed. That's why.
This is true. Oh, the social
Uh,
outcasts.
well, yeah, but come on. Really?
Hey, at least they didn't show up this week. I was very
Yeah.
happy.
This is the writing. Yeah, you're right. I was more positive about the show until we started talking about it, and
Now
now
you realize.
now I'm thinking about it. I mean, I think I was on a high because of the way it ended, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, a lot of the writing here was so sloppy.
And then the women's match was okay. It was Sasha Banks fighting Summer Rae. I don't like Summer Rae. I'm glad Sasha Banks put her in a submission hold, made her tap. Good night, goodbye, have a pleasant tomorrow.
Yeah.
The rest of the matches, well, no. Baron Corbin's debut match was a disqualification count out between him and, oh God, please, Dolph Ziggler, because whenever Ziggler feuds with somebody, it lasts for about a year.
I hope that's not the case. But I actually like this match because it didn't make either one of them look weak. If
Right.
if Baron Corbin had come in here and just beat Dolph Ziggler, who is a former two-time world champion,
It would have made him look too strong, and if Dolph Ziggler would have won, it would have taken away from Baron Corbin's
exactly.
coming up.
So this was a good way to handle it, and they were fighting out in the crowd and stuff. I thought it was good. I appreciated it. I still hate Dolph Ziggler's transformation into Shawn Michaels, but at least they say that he's doing it as tribute. So,
Yeah.
it's something.
But then we got surprises. There was the women's match where Charlotte was basically boasting, oh, yeah, I'm the women's champion. Everybody walked out except Natalia. And we got, my family's better than your family. My family's better than your family. Oh.
Yeah.
So this is going to be Rick versus Brett 2.0.
Okay. See, the problem with this is, okay.
See, whenever Brand starts a sentence, see the problem.
Okay, it was fine that Sasha and Becky did their walkout. That was fine, and they led the rest. Okay, that's good. The problem is because of all the other people coming up and because of Bayley losing at TakeOver, the entire crowd, both present and at home, were expecting Bayley to come out and challenge Charlotte.
Right, because that was the rumor.
Yeah, instead we get somebody that we know is not going to beat Charlotte. It's not going to happen.
But I think Bayley still, the rumors are still standing for Bayley and Finn Balor, who both of them did not show up.
But it just, Natalia's already been beaten by Charlotte like twice. How is she a credible threat? She's not.
Unless the writers make her a credible threat now all of a sudden. Which would be dumb because how is she not before and then is now?
But I mean, you can't even have Brett come out because he's not doing great.
Yeah. He's still healing from, I believe, the operation.
Yeah, so I mean, you can't have him come out and do like a thing with Flair. Jim Neidhart is in no condition. Have you seen that man?
No.
He's just not in good condition.
Heavy?
Yeah, well, not just that. I mean, he is very heavy, but he's also, I think he has back problems and stuff like that. So it would not, I don't think it would be good there. So I don't know what you do there. I mean, Tyson Kidd is like injured, so he can't come in and be her corner man either. So
Maybe she'll
just,
team up with Zack Ryder.
I don't know. All I know is I don't want to see this. I didn't want to see it. And, I like Natty. I do. I like
I
Natty.
do too, but I mean, it's too much, and it was right after she lost to her twice.
Exactly. That's the problem I have with it. It's they've already established that she can't beat Charlotte. And if she does, it's not really believable. You know
Not
what I'm
anymore,
saying?
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So,
But we did get a really awesome debut, a shocker, because this wasn't rumored at all. We had Tyler Breeze versus Apollo Crews.
Yes, that was awesome.
NXT. And Apollo Crews won,
Yeah.
which
And
was even cooler.
And he did all those athletic moves that we love. There was another I forgot. We talked about the Dudley Boys, but we did not talk about what happened after that match, which was as the Dudley Boys are walking up the stage, out comes Enzo and Cass. And we're like,
yes,
and man, they were slamming into the Dudleys, and it was lame
they're
jokes.
soft.
Yeah, it was lame.
SAWSWAFT soft.
Yeah, they did do that. They did the whole thing.
And everybody who's an NXT fan was doing it back.
Yeah, oh, of course. And they said some lame jokes, but they were funny because it was them saying them. Like, Enzo said to Bubba, tears run down the back of your head just to get away from your face. How you doing? Stuff like that. Oh.
So they moved up, and the Vaudevillains moved up. So both teams. You know what? But think about it, Pram. Name tag teams that can go for the belts.
Usos, Dudley's, New Day. That's it.
That's it. Because League of Nations isn't a tag team.
Right.
And
yeah, if you want to pigeonhole it, well, you got the Lucha Dragons. You got, which they're not really together right now. You've got New Day. I mean, not New Day. You've got Social Outcasts and League of Nations. If you want to shoot them.
Yeah, no, I don't think it would work for them because New Day, you see how hard it is for them to balance with 3. Imagine 4 or 5.
Yeah.
No.
Possibly Golden Truth if they ever get together.
Oh my God, this is like I'm tired of it. Every time I see him or Goldust, I'm done. I walk out. I'm like, no, I'm done. Because first it was Goldust, now it's R-Truth. It's like this is worse than Booker T and Goldust.
Oh yeah.
Goldust took Booker T.
At least that was funny.
It's not funny.
I liked Goldust and Goldberg better than this.
Yeah, but the weird thing is, they're talking about a tag team. Neither one of them has wrestled other than that Battle Royal in months.
I know. It's ridiculous.
I don't know, but I just thought that was dumb with that's those skits also.
Yeah. So before we get to the main event, which is what we really want to talk about, we should talk about how the main event came to be.
Yes.
Which, Roman Reigns was in the ring doing his, I'm not a bad guy, good guy, I'm the guy, yada yada.
Oh man, stop giving. He's like, give him Paul Heyman. Let Brock Lesnar go off into the sunset and give him Paul Heyman. At least Paul Heyman's good on the frickin' mic. Or give him a manager, for God's sakes, please.
Yeah, something. That's why when the Shield was around, it was Dean and Seth doing most of the talking. And Roman would just pop in with like a little short line. That's why.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or believe that. Believe in the Shield. That's usually what he would say.
That's all he would say would be believe that.
Yeah.
Dropped mic. And that worked.
Yeah. So he's standing in the ring and out comes Jericho.
Of all people.
And so, of course, after Jericho, out comes AJ Styles.
Because every time you say Jericho, you have to say AJ Styles. Yeah. And they had a tag match against each other on SmackDown.
But then, of course, Kevin Owens has to come out because him and AJ got that thing going, right? So when you got Kevin Owens, you got to have Sami Zayn. And so, really, all right, this is what I want to say, though. You got these 4 guys. You know it's going to end up in a 4-way match. That's just the way wrestling goes. Okay, we're going to talk about the match, but seeing these particular 4 guys, Who would you pick out of them to actually win that match and go against Roman Reigns?
Either AJ Styles or Sami Zayn.
Really? That's who
I
you
would
would
not
pick?
have picked. I wouldn't have picked. I'll actually anybody but Kevin Owens, and I'll explain why. Kevin Owens, I believe, is going to go back for the Intercontinental belt at some point. I believe he's going to want to go for that. I think Jericho's held the championship before, but I don't see him winning against Roman Reigns. That's the problem.
Yeah.
With Sami Zayn, I feel like it would be a good push where he would lose to Roman Reigns, but it would help push him up the ranks a bit faster to a more solo and world heavyweight division. AJ makes sense because look at the shit they've been giving him since he started.
But let me ask you this: is that who you would want to face him, or is that who you thought would actually face him?
Who I thought when I saw that, I was like, see, that was the hard part. It's like seeing all four of them. It's like it's the Intercontinental belt all over again, minus
Yeah.
Miz and Zack Ryder. So it's like it depends where the writers are going and what
Yeah.
story they wanted to do. If they did Kevin Owen, then obviously Roman Reigns would be full on face. If they did Chris Jericho, Roman would be full on face also. If they did Sami Zayn, that's when he's where he is now, where he's polarized. He could be either or. If they did AJ, which everybody went nuts for, he would be polarized as well because AJ is a face.
Okay. See, my logic in it was, okay, Chris Jericho is proven. Obviously, that's that would be the predictable choice. Okay, if they wanted to do
Right.
something different, it couldn't be Chris Jericho. But I thought maybe they would throw Jericho because Roman Reigns is running out of people because everybody's injured.
Alan made a funny joke about Jericho. I guess his band is not doing well because all of a sudden now you notice he's on every single week.
Yeah, that's true. So then I thought Kevin Owens. All right, Kevin Owens has been around. He's paid his dues. He's beaten John Cena. He's held the Intercontinental title.
True.
Him and Roman would make an excellent main event match. That they, two powerhouses like that would be really good against each other. So I thought, okay, that makes more sense. Sami Zayn just came up. He's new. He's fresh. Yeah, he's exciting and everybody loves
He wouldn't
him.
have won.
'Cause
Yeah, but he
yeah,
wouldn't have won.
yeah. So you don't believe that he could possibly win. So I ruled him out. AJ Styles, same thing. He just got to the WWE. Yes, he has all that history, and yes, he has this entire fan base behind him. He's basically the Sting of TNA.
He's basically what the writers are doing is they're instead of thinking, "Hey, AJ Styles just came here, maybe he needs more time." They're saying, "Hey, AJ Styles has a history. He's held belts. Let's put him right in the World
Yeah,
Championship because we all know AJ Styles won, by the way, everybody."
and I get that, but my point is I didn't give WWE that much credit to do that to go there. So for me, I was thinking it's anyone but AJ, and probably not Sami Zayn either. So I was
Well, they
thinking,
didn't medically clear Sami Zayn.
well, I figured it would be. Yeah, you're right. I completely forgot about that. I figured it would
Because
be.
he switched.
Yeah, you're right. Cesaro, who came back when Cesaro entered the match, I was like, okay, this could really be Cesaro then.
Swerve.
Yeah.
Yes, swerve.
So, but when they were talking about it, I thought it was going to be Jericho or Owens, just because of those reasons. When Cesaro got in there, I was like, oh well, it's a no-brainer. Now it's Cesaro because Cesaro and Roman, that's huge, and they're like going crazy for Cesaro. When AJ won, you explaining it like that makes sense to me, and I get it now. But in that moment when he won, I literally stood up with my mouth dropped, and I was like, oh my god, they did it. They went
They
there.
pushed. What they're doing is they're going off of AJ Styles It's basically like everything he's done in TNA, ROA, everywhere. ROH, not ROA. ROH,
I knew what you meant.
everywhere. It followed him directly to WWE, and it's basically like that was his WWE life as well. So they're like, oh, well, he was a champion. Let's, why are we waiting? Let's just put him directly right in that circle. And people, unlike myself and you who've watched him, I've watched him a lot in TNA before TNA went to the suck.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of his matches in Ring of Honor. Yes, I mean, if you know him, you would say, okay, this is great. But if you are new to this person, if I just saw this guy out the gate, if I was WWE exclusive, I'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Why him?
I mean,
What's so great?
yeah, I mean, he's done a lot of great things in the ring since he's been there. But yeah, if you didn't have that connection with him, but I'd say
Yeah, but
Probably.
dude, he only fought Chris Jericho. He's only fought Chris
He was
Jericho.
also in the Royal
Ortega.
Rumble. Yeah, he was in the Royal Rumble too, though.
That's true, and he stood up against Roman
Yeah,
Reigns.
and yeah, I think though the majority of wrestling fans at least know who he is. If they haven't seen a lot of his matches, I think they know who he is. And it's kind of like he doesn't have as much exposure as Sting had from WCW, but it's kind of the same situation in a way. And I think they realize, hey, we could have had Sting in his prime, and if we had him in his prime, he could have done great things here, and look how that went. So AJ Styles, after talking to you, I'm realizing this, I'm putting it together. AJ Styles is kind of in the same boat. So let's do the opposite with this. Let's give him this push, give him a chance, and see where it
Like
goes.
Sting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was. I Facebooked you as soon as I watched it. I said that main event was phenomenal.
Phenomenal,
Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, and it was for me. Just him winning, and then I watched. He's had a couple of interviews after, and they talked about him getting to that point, and he was like, "I've won championships everywhere else." But this is a completely different thing, and it was really cool. And he talked about WrestleMania, having his WrestleMania moment, and thinking things couldn't get bigger than that, but now they are. Now he's the number one contender and all this stuff, and I really like that they're actually doing this. They're giving all these guys from NXT a shot. They're giving AJ Styles, who just came up, a shot at the big time here. Is he going to beat Roman Reigns? Probably not.
Maybe not. I don't think so, because Roman just got the belt, and it's like every time Roman gets the belt, if he just loses it the next pay-per-view, it's not going to be believable.
Yeah.
But I think that it's not going to end at the pay-per, especially because we're going to have another one in the same month.
Yeah.
So I think that it might lead into the next one again.
Do you think Roman Reigns remains in between, or do you think during this match with Styles maybe he goes full on heel?
It's a possibility. This is a polarizing match because AJ is a face. AJ can go full on heel as well.
Yeah, true. But
AJ's been an excellent heel.
AJ's got that popularity behind him. I think that would be a big mistake if they made him heel, only because...
Think about who you're talking about's writing.
I know, I agree with you, but the reason it would be a huge mistake is the same thing. It's because if he went heel, it would be the same thing with Triple H. They'd be cheering AJ Styles regardless.
Right, and I think that's why they're getting rid of the Authority. I think that Triple H sees that he's still got something left in him, hopefully, and maybe they're going to try to thrust him back in a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe. There's still rumors of that brand split, too, though, so you never know what's going to happen. They could end up on SmackDown with Shane on Raw. You never know. You don't know how long Shane's staying around.
True.
It's all up in the air.
Shane is probably going contract to contract. Once his contract's up, he can walk away.
Yeah. But even though most of this Raw was sloppy writing, it was still exciting because so much changed. And it's got me excited about certain things going forward. And, I'm thinking ahead of like SummerSlam and what the possibilities are there when you've got all these NXT people coming up. And you've got AJ Styles in the title picture now. And
if Finn Balor comes up, that's going to be another one.
Yeah, there's just so many possibilities now. It's kind of exciting. It's like that change is that same kind of feeling you got when like the Shield came up, and it was new blood, and the Wyatts came up, and it's all these new faces, and they're really good, and it's just changed the entire landscape of the company, and it's exciting for a while. So that's where we're at.
Speaking of NXT was a bunch of recaps this week, so there really wasn't anything NXT. There was only one match, and that was, ironically, Apollo Crews against Elias Sampson. And guess what? Just like on Raw, Apollo Crews won.
I forgot we were supposed to talk about that first.
To be honest, Brant, though, think about it. It was one match.
Yeah.
We knew that Apollo Crews was moving up. So, did it matter? No.
Yeah. And for anybody that didn't see NXT, it's not like the Samoa Joe match. It didn't last like the entire time. It was recap of TakeOver, and they had the girl that was there during the kickoff, I think, or during TakeOver. I don't know. She was there during WrestleMania weekend doing something. She was like backstage introducing all these matches, recapping everybody, and then they showed interviews with various superstars like Bayley and Finn Balor after their matches at TakeOver. Before you ever got to that match between Apollo Crews and Elias Sampson. So, yeah, that match was only, what would you say, 15 minutes?
At least it was, at most, it was a very short match.
Yeah. So, and the rest of it was just recaps because they recapped Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn after that match.
Right.
So
It was all a recap of Takeover. So if you missed Takeover, you didn't miss Takeover. If you
yeah,
know what I mean. You got the abridged version of it.
exactly. So, but it's interesting. Real quick on NXT though, we talked about all these people coming up to WWE. So they've started bringing in. They brought in Shinsuke Nakamura. They brought in
Yep.
Austin Aries. We've seen Bobby Roode in the crowd, so we know
He's coming.
he's coming.
Is he related to Rick Rude?
No, no, I thought he was too. He's actually from Canada.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's you got all these different people coming up. So it's like this next wave of NXT now, and it just feels like they're actually building something to where they have this cycle that they're going to go through with WWE, and it's kind of cool that way, you know. I like
agree.
it. Yeah.
I agree, and NXT is really great. I'm looking forward. I guess Takeover is kind of the end of their season too, and now they're starting new as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what NXT has to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully it'll be more than just one match next week.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Well, they did say Austin Aries was going to be in action and Shinsuke Nakamura was going to be in action. So it's at least 2 matches.
At least.
So pretty cool. All right, so that is all the wrestling, and now we get to some other discussion.
I'll open it up and then I'll pass it to you, Brent. Now, as you guys know, I made the announcement that I was going to be taking a lot of the content on my channel and doing one of two things with it. Either I was going to be canceling it or moving it over to Comic Frontline, and I was going to leave the main stuff, my reviews, my comic review, my haul, and the Friday live shows on my channel. Everything else either is gone or moved to Frontline. So where does that leave 123 Podcast? And that's where me and Brent sat down and talked about it. And actually, it was going to go one way until WrestleMania, which changed a bit, changed a little bit of our thought process.
Thanks to you guys. Actually.
Yeah, exactly. So, Brant, do you want to give the announcements, and then I'll build off of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like Chris said, we talked about it, we debated it, we really thought about it, and for a number of reasons, not just one reason, a number of reasons, we decided to end doing the show weekly. We're no longer going to do the show weekly. A lot of, like I said, a lot of factors went into that. Time being one of the main ones, and the fact that we because of time issues, it's going up later and later, and that's a disservice to you guys, and you're already watching the next episode of Raw or whatever. So it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But And that does mean that the audio version of 123 Podcast is coming to an end with this episode. This will be the last audio version. So is that the end of 123 Podcast, though? Not exactly. No. Because of the success of the WrestleMania live show on Chris's channel, we decided to bring back 123 on a monthly basis, doing the pay-per-views live. So you guys can comment, but instead of doing them on Chris's channel, we are moving that as well over to Comic Frontline.
Right. So episode 36 will actually be the pay-per-view. I forgot what pay-per-view
is next. Is it Payback or is it?
I think it's Payback. Either it's Payback or Backlash.
Yeah, it's not Backlash. It's Payback or something else. It's one of whatever the next pay-per-view is.
Whatever it is, that's where the next live show and the next 123 Podcast episode will be. There will be no audio version of it. It will be straight up. We will start the live show 5 minutes before the pay-per-view starts, maybe a half hour before, and get our predictions out there, throw out what the matches are, and then we will be live commentating or, reacting to the pay-per-views. There won't be a recap anymore. It'll literally just be the live show for the pay-per-views. But Brent, you wanted to expand on if 123 Weekly might ever come back. You want to explain it? Because I don't think I'd explain it as well as you did, actually. The way you explained it pre-show was very good.
Yeah, there is a possibility in the future, and to find out if that's going to happen, we'll release details of that as
time goes on.
As time goes on and as they become available. Watch the monthly 123 live video cast on Comic Frontline for details on that in the upcoming weeks, months, years, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and also keep an eye out on my live show. A lot of
Yes.
announcements happen there.
Yeah.
But here's another little shake up for 123. My live show podcast buddies were Justin, Exile State Comics, and Alan Mullen. And I asked both those guys already if they'd be willing to come back once a month and do live reaction a live reaction 123 podcast show on the pay-per-views. And both of them have amazingly said yes. So they will be jumping in. Brand will hopefully be popping on for, I'd like to say, more than less of the podcast of the pay-per-views. I know there are some pay-per-views that I know you probably won't make, but I'm hoping for the amount. We have 12 altogether. Out of those 12, hopefully we'll have you for at least 8.
We'll see. It all depends on schedule because I do go to conventions throughout the year and stuff like that. So sometimes, like the one before WrestleMania, I was actually, Roadblock or whatever it was, I was actually at a convention, so I was at a hotel, and I couldn't participate in that one. So things like that happen more often than not, but I'm going to try to make as many of them as I possibly can. So we'll just have to see. I'm not going to say which ones or whatever right here and now. But hopefully I'll be on a lot of them. And we'll have fun. And we'll get to interact with you guys directly as opposed to, you guys just giving feedback and us commenting as we can. We'll be able to interact with you just as you comment. I'm not saying we're going to be able to answer every single comment or question during the show. But
I do want to thank the 2,000 people that came out and chilled with us during WrestleMania. It was a 5-hour show. And you guys stuck with us all the way through the 5 hours, and we had a great time. Unfortunately, couldn't get to all the comments like Brand said, but we got to a good amount.
Yeah. So, the future of 123, it's different, but it's not dead. It is bright, and it's going to be more exciting now.
And it's going to be on Frontline.
And it's going to be on Comic Frontline. So, we're going to open it up to a whole new audience over there. And we got to thank the rest of the Comic Frontline staff because they've been very supportive and very open to bringing 123 over there. And we're excited about it. And hopefully you guys are too.
Oh, but we will be mixing. I would like to mention this. The Chris and Brand show is moving as well to Comic Frontline. That show is not being canceled. It is going to be a once-a-month format. Since I have Brand with me now, it'll be a once-a-month format for now. Again, pending, future decision-makings, whatever. But like Hall of Toys, like Hit Points, and like everything else we've done, wrestling will be folded into the Chris and Brand show, so you could expect us to talk about wrestling as well on there.
Yeah, it won't be like what we do here, obviously, because it'll be once a month, but we'll talk about the most exciting things that happened during that month of wrestling or something just really stands out. Somebody gets hurt, somebody comes back, somebody wins a title, whatever. We'll be talking about all that stuff on the Chris and Brand show too. So if you guys are fans of wrestling, gaming, all that kind of stuff, you can join us on that once a month as well.
And if we ever do one of those shows like where we review Bad Blood or anything, it will just be considered late night with, and then you and me, Brant and me. I was about to say you and me, but Brant and myself. So we're going to have late night with Brant and Chris and Brant, and we're going to have the Chris and Brand show. All that's moving over to Comic Frontline, so don't worry. So you've got once a month, you've got the Sunday live shows, and you've got Chris and Brand as well once a month.
Yep, absolutely.
Undetermined date or day at this time.
Exactly. So without further ado, though, that's going to wrap up this episode of 123 Podcast, and actually, it's going to be the last
Dark Avenger C86 version of 123 Podcast,
and
the last weekly.
Last weekly, the last audio version. We're tapping out. We're ringing the bell. Yeah. But that's just the end of the match, not the end of the
show.
Yeah, not the end of the show. So there you go.
Yeah. So for episode 36, we'll see you guys live on Comic Frontline for the pay-per-view. There will be announced. Obviously, I'll tweet it out on my Twitter, and we'll mention it on Comic Frontline on Tuesday. We'll spot it out that Sunday will be live. Yeah. So it'll be fun. I think that we're going in a really positive direction, and there will be ways, continue to support the show, comment, show your love to the show, and who knows, like Brand said, you never know what the future holds. For right now, maybe it won't be weekly, but
as Sting would say, the only thing that's for sure is nothing's for sure.
Exactly. This is not goodbye, it's see you later.
Exactly. So with that, see you later, guys.
See you later. Bye.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production. Honk!